We all know the Lakers 2021 season did not go as scheduled by any means necessary. Between the organization missing the playoffs altogether and some obvious locker room issues, head coach issues, there's still optimism within Laker Nation that this team can do something for this season. Russ is still on the roster, and although I'm not sure if it'll be much longer, as the Lakers, they have their own soft deadline for trading him prior to training camp. Whether Russ is on the Lakers or not, they have a tough schedule ahead, and they know exactly what the road will look like if they want to be in the finals. Before we hop into the Lakers schedule, do me a favor and subscribe. I've noticed around 70% of you guys aren't subbed, so stick around. I promise you're at the dopest discussion spot for hoops on the tube, and if you're already a part of the gang, you already know what to do for me. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up for your boy. And lastly, let me know what you guys think about the Lakers schedule. What do you think the Lakers are gonna do? I don't really know where they'll quite be. I still have a video coming out regarding them, but without further ado, let's get into this thing. Per usual, the Lakers have a plethora of nationally televised games, and even though they aren't a top tier team construction wise, it makes sense as the Lakers, we already know what they are. Whether they win or lose, people want to watch it. People want to watch them win. People want to watch them lose. The same with the Dallas Cowboys. They call them America's team, not because everybody likes the team, but everybody has a vested interest whether the team loses or wins. And on top of it being the Lakers, LeBron plays for that team, so that's even more people, haters, and supporters alike tuning into this team. They have 39 national televised games, and regardless of record, LeBron, AD, and Russ, it's enough to drive viewership numbers anyway, so it makes sense why they have so many of them. Being a Lakers fan is pretty tough when you're living on this side of the states. So if you're living on the East Coast, 24 of their 41 home games are on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, which means if it's on TV or you're like me and you find other ways to watch NBA games, you don't have to sacrifice much sleep staying up too late watching them, as it'll be on a weekend. The Lakers have 12 back-to-backs, 3 5-game homestands, 2 5-game road trips, and a tough 6-game road trip that features Milwaukee, Toronto, Cleveland, and Philly. We already know the Lakers opened their season in Oakland against Golden State, and their Christmas game is in Dallas. And it's worth mentioning that that's kind of odd because that's not normally how it works. Normally the Lakers have the home game in these situations. Even when LeBron was in Miami and Kobe was on the Lakers had the home game. LeBron and company came to LA. I know most matchups that you circle, they normally come from heated rivalry or beefs or whatever you want to call it from the season prior. I don't really think the Lakers have any of that this year, the same way they did a few years ago with regards to the Clippers and everything with the Paul George situation and all that. But another game worth mentioning for Lakers fans is the March 7th matchup against the Grizzlies. This game, they retire Pau Gasol's jersey, which personally I believe is long overdue, and I hope most of Laker Nation believes the same thing. My take on the schedule is pretty much starting the season off right, unlike last season, is imperative. It's important. We need to do that. Now, the start of the season is a bit rough because we see a couple powerhouse teams and potential playoff teams in that stretch. We open the season against the Warriors and then fly home immediately to play against the Clippers. Then they play potential playoff teams all the way up until their 12th game, where we see the Kings. Through that stretch, they play the Clippers twice, they play Denver twice, they play Cleveland and a young New Orleans team that beat them out for a play-in spot last year and to get in that playoff spot that the Lakers were looking towards. Getting off to a fast start is going to be important because we're going to see a lot of tough teams early. If we can get through that stretch of teams, it might boost our confidence to be able to push through the rest of the season, because this first part of the season, it's important for confidence and going forward into the latter half of the season. Yes, it's a marathon and not a sprint, but you still want to get off to a pretty good start so that if you find yourself hitting a plateau or falling off of a short cliff, you have a cushion to fall on because of the fact that you started the season off strong, you built your wins early, and now when you hit a little bit of turmoil in the middle of the season, you have a bit of a cushion to be okay. To get off to a fast start, Darvin Ham is going to need to come into training camp with the best foot forward regardless of who is on the roster. And as I've said before, I still think we need to make a couple moves before we're really in the place we want to be. But as of right now, I believe we should and will get Kyrie eventually. But if we can't get him, Darvin Ham's gonna need to figure out how to make this season work, as will the other Lakers with regards to AD, Russ, and those other guys. And Bron just signed an extension, so he's here for the next 2 years after this current contract expires, and that just gives all the more vote of confidence to Rob Pelinka to build a team around him so that he's not wasting his last years in LA. Honestly, I'd be very disappointed as a Lakers fan in the fact that LeBron chose to come to LA. We didn't ask him to come. He came to us and we basically wasted his last couple years. Yes, we got a title out of it, but with LeBron playing at the level that he's playing at the age that he's playing, there's no reason he shouldn't be contending for a title every year. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. As always, you know it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.